We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is Common Sense for your dollars and cents. Common sense is so rare in America today, it's like having a superpower. If you just stop and think, it will completely set you free. It's pretty amazing. Our question of the day Today's question comes from Andre in the Ramsey Baby Steps community, which is a Facebook community of about, 5,700,000, so big bunch of folks over there. So our house needs a new furnace, oil tank, and water heater. They're all 40 years old. The hot water heater doesn't even work, and the other things work, but not for much longer. We want to sell the house next year, and I'm worried we won't get the money back. I know this is maintenance of a home, but in today's market, can I view this as an investment? And will it help us sell the house to have all new essential items?
Well, if I'm you, Andre, I at least want to get those things in working condition, because if I'm buying a house, I would like to know that there's a working water heater. I would like to know that there's working heat in a furnace. I'm not saying that you have to go in and spend top dollar, at the top of your budget for all of these items, but it's not going to hurt you to have a working home before you put it on the market. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and if you're using this as a justification to overspend on these items or to go deeply in debt, no, we're not going to go there.
Right.
But
make sure you pay cash.
You had a problem before you sent this email. You don't have hot water. I mean, come on, really. This is pretty basic stuff here. So, yeah, you need to fix your freaking hot water heater or replace it. Now, I don't know about the furnace in the basement. I don't know whether you've got the one from the Christmas Story movie or what it is you've got down there. But the thing I've learned is you can patch those things together most of the time. And what often happens is the heating and air person that comes actually wants to sell you a new unit rather than fix it, and so they're really good at scaring you to death. Oh, your family's all going to die. This thing's going to blow up. Yeah, you get all this crap. Not all of them. Obviously, there's some good heating and air people out there. We endorse good heating and air people that are honest all over the nation, but there is a bit of a problem in that community. So be careful with that. Don't overspend is the point.
Well, something tells me he doesn't have any money.
Yeah, a house that doesn't have heat and air and hot water is not marketable.
No.
So you've got to fix it to sell it. And you should fix hot water to live in it, and you should have heat for the winter. I mean, this is pretty basic stuff. But what he's not saying here is that I have a bid for $25,000 and I want to go deeply in debt on a second mortgage and put it under air quotes of an investment.
That's what it is,
None of
Dave.
that is in here, but I read every bit of it in there.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. And I don't think he's got cash stacked up for this, if I'm guessing. This is something that he was hoping he could pull out debt or a loan to do. I'm guessing he wouldn't
have asked us. He wouldn't be taking cold showers if he had cash stacked.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I think you're right. Jacob's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hi, Jacob. How are you?
Yeah, better than I deserve, Dave. How about you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, so I just started following you guys, and me and my wife got married last year, and we sold our house and moved to a less busy area that was actually cheaper. And so we came into kind of a windfall of money through that. So after our down payment and everything, and we have our 6 months reserve, we have about $60,000 in the bank we were looking to do something with. And given my situation during college, I qualified for the full $20,000 relief package to the new Biden student loan forgiveness. And obviously that's in limbo right now. So my question is, I have about $36,000 left in student loan debt. Should we just pay it off right now, or should we wait to see what happens?
Okay. Well, the thing I have figured out is over the years that, I mean, we just need to preface this, Jacob, with I'm old, okay? And I have seen a lot of promises that were going to fix my life come from Washington, D.C. The number of them that have materialized is approaching zero. Mm-hmm. And so what I discovered a long time ago is that people that wait on the government to fix their lives generally have lives that suck.
Sure.
And so have you noticed that this has been dragging out for like 2.5 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's now before the Supreme Court, which is what happened after it went to the circuit court, which is what happened after Biden went ahead and just did it, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. And the timing was always suspect around the midterm elections and all of that. So I don't want to be Charlie Brown trying to kick the football with Biden Lucy holding it.
Okay.
If I'm you, I want to take control of my life. So for that reason, I'm going to pay it off if I'm you. There's another reason if I'm you, but you would have to decide this reason. But if I'm there, that I would pay it off, and it is that I actually borrowed the money. I owe it.
Sure.
There's that.
Okay.
That's a big that. That's not little.
Right.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I guess my thought process was, obviously the onus of the bills would be on the taxpayers, right? That money has to come from somewhere. I guess if I was already going to be paying higher taxes anyways, I might as well get the benefit.
Yeah,
well.
And the guy that welded your car together that didn't go to college gets to pay your student loan with his taxes.
And teachers who make pennies have to pay it in taxes. It goes to everybody, not just you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that's the thing. So you again. You do whatever you want. We're not going to argue with you about that. But you did call here and ask, so you're always going to get, what we think, because that's the problem with this thing. It's what it's about. The show's about what we think. So, Jade, there's a percentage of idiots out there that are going to. They're going to be really, really upset and say we were shaming poor Jacob. We're not shaming poor Jacob.
No.
At all. I'm just telling you what I think. I think there's an ethical consideration, and if you think ethics is a form of shaming, then you are what is known as a child.
Because where do you draw the line, Dave? Where do you draw the line? That's the question.
I mean, there are government programs that are in place that offer tax incentives. Mm-hmm. I take those. I don't pay any more in taxes than I need to. Mm-hmm. So is that unethical? No, that's in place. And I didn't promise to do something and then choose to let the government do it for me.
That's right.
I have not ever promised to do anything and then chose to let the government do it for me. But I've taken advantage of a lot of taxes, tax breaks of all kinds. Anything that is on the books and is legal. I hate taxes. So, but that is not that there is a complete difference here. Is that I did not sign up and says I owe this.
Right.
Now you take care of it.
But Dave, a lot of people on the other side of it, people will say, "Well, Dave, the student loan companies, they were predatory. They took advantage of me. They took advantage of
Absolutely
me, an 18-year-old kid."
Absolutely,
talk to that.
They're absolute scum. They're absolute scum. And on that basis, if we're going to be righteous and holy and forgive student loan debt, we should, by God, quit making the student loans.
Facts.
How can you keep making the student loans? And in Tennessee, we call it talking out both sides of your head.
Yeah, you can't solve a problem while simultaneously creating it. That's impossible.
Not without calling that intellectual dishonesty.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, which is what the definition of politics is. So there you go. But yeah, so, I mean, Democrats, Republicans alike, that you guys up there, if you did anything on the Hill worth doing, it would be stop this program.
That's right.
Because you're destroying young lives with it. You're hurting way more people than you're helping with the student loan program. If you don't believe me, watch Borrowed Future and you'll see the predatory action. So, yeah, Jacob may have been taken advantage of in the sense that he was young, dumb, and naive like I was. Mm-hmm. And I did a lot of stupid butt stuff in college myself. So,
On the flip side, if
all
you
I gotta
have
say is
student
thank God
loans,
Twitter wasn't there when I was in college, because I'd be canceled like long before it was even cool to cancel stuff.
true that. But if you've got them, I had 280,000 of them, and you know what we did, Dave?
You paid them.
We paid them off.
You and Big Sam. And you did that with like work and stuff.
Imagine that.
This is the Ramsey Show. We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. On the debt-free stage in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions, Scott and Rachel are here. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
Hey, doing well.
Welcome, welcome. Where do you guys live?
We're from Kingsport, Tennessee.
Absolutely, just over the hill. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to Nashville. Good to have you here to do a debt-free scream. How much did you pay off?
$65K.
All right, good for you. How long did that take?
18 months.
Good. And your range of income during that time?
Between 60 and 70 up to ending at 105.
Good for you. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a dental assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And I, at the time, did real estate and was operations manager for a subsidiary of Summit Racing.
Mm-hmm.
And have since taken a procurement role with a Fortune 500 company in
Wow.
Kingsport.
Good for you. Very cool. Good. So that explains the increase in income.
Yes, and the side hustle, so to speak, with real estate.
Okay, and that's been going good for you. Good for you guys. What kind of debt was the $65,000?
We have a list here. $5K on a camper, impulse buy, $45K in vehicles, and $15K student loans.
You had a lot of cars.
Yeah.
What'd you do with them?
Just hustled with the real estate side income and
got it all paid off.
Paid them off.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because you were bathing in that.
Yep.
So tell me the story. What happened? What got you started on all this crazy Ramsey stuff?
Kind of the beginnings were 2020, a couple things going on. I was unhappy in my career, and we were expecting our first child. And I also became licensed in real estate at the time.
Just in time for the pandemic.
Yeah.
You got great timing. Yeah.
And ended up switching, main roles as well. And then fast forward to the end of 2021, that role was not going so well. Some night shift, wasn't, nice for family life. So I ended up going back to my old employer for a small pay cut. And I remember having a conversation with Rachel. I almost refused to go back because of the pay cut. and we realized, well, it's not necessarily the money we're making, it's where it's all going.
That's right.
And and there was a little bit in there. She had aspirations to be a stay-at-home mom, and wasn't really for her. She tried for a bit. So then at the beginning of 2021, it was conversation of, hey, if you decided you want to do this, I've got this real estate, side income. Let's get after it.
Wow. So during this 18 months, what was the hardest part? What was the part that you just were like, ugh, I cannot wait until this part of it is over? What was the hardest part?
Probably a couple of things. The
second job.
Yeah.
Hours.
Yes.
I know my son was, a newborn, and he didn't know I wasn't there, but I did. And my wife as well. There were days I would leave, my main job 5, 6 o'clock, drive to a town an hour away to show home, and, I'm back home at 9 or 10 o'clock. And
long days.
To give credit to my wife, she mentions at times that, I was the one kind of hustling and getting after real estate, but I couldn't have done that without her support, to put in those long days and, take care of our son.
How's it feel to be free?
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Was it worth it?
Yes.
Definitely.
So how you going to buy the next car?
Cash.
Bingo.
Not for a while.
Ding, 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 ding. How'd you get connected to us?
When I went back to my previous employer, I remember having that conversation with a confidant of mine there. I hated to come back. I needed that income, and I had it calculated out. I lost this amount per month, and was kind of nerdy about it. And he said, "Hey, you seem pretty dialed into this. Have you heard of Dave Ramsey?" And of course, sorry, I said no. And he gave me your book, and then tuned in the podcast, Rachel and I, and the rest is history.
There we go. Very cool. Very cool. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Sticking to it.
Yep, that.
And a budget.
A budget.
And for me, personally, I had to really change the way I think about money. Not as a vehicle for, things, but as a tool for, my family to leave a legacy and to build a future.
That's good. It's a good viewpoint. Well done. Good job, you guys. We're proud of you, man.
Sure, right.
Thank you.
Man.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, we've got the Live and Give bundle for you. We always give it to our debt-free screamers. The Baby Steps Millionaires book, the Total Money Makeover book. Now, when you're talking to somebody, you can give it away. And Financial Peace University. Have you been through it?
We have not.
Oh, good. Wow. Take that and go through it. We got a membership for you, and you ought to do that. That's great. Very, very cool. So proud of you guys. Who was your biggest cheerleaders other than the two of you?
That's about it ourselves.
Yeah, we kind of played it close to the vest. I had the colleague at work there, and it's funny. I may be misremembering. I don't think Rachel recalled, but when I started diving into your stuff, I think I recalled that our marriage counseling was actually taught. Had some lessons from you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, you're pre-marriage.
Pre-marriage, yeah.
Okay. That's possible, yeah.
So, and I remembered, connecting to those, and, things kind of came back, and, we just jumped on board.
Very cool. Well, way to go, you two. Well done. Very well done. We're proud of you here. Thank you for making the trip over to do your debt-free scream. We appreciate it. Scott and Rachel, Kingsport, Tennessee, $65,000 paid off in 18 months, making 60 to 70, now to 105. That's the way it always works. Woo! Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free.
Yeah! Well done, well done, well done. Well, one of the things you'll find is that often, not with those guys, but often the people doing their debt-free screams have gone through Financial Peace University. 10 million people have now. That's not a couple, that's a bunch. And making it probably, arguably, the largest financial class in current existence in America today. And the most successful by far in terms of the results that we get. We're flooded this time of year. You know, it's the end of January, and so your resolution may be a resolution by now. It may be time to reset again and go, okay, all that bullcrap, now let's really do it. Let's really do it. So you can't wish for things to change unless you do something different. Get plugged into Financial Peace University. You'll learn the proven plan, not only to get out of debt, but become a baby steps millionaire in the process. And be outrageously generous. Put yourself in a position that every time eggs go up, all these funny memes about eggs are funny memes. You got $3 million, you're not whining about eggs. I'm just saying. So this is what you do. So check it out. We're offering Financial Peace University right now for $69.99 through the end of the month, which is just a couple days. So get this limited time offer on FPU at RamseySolutions.com/deal. And how do they sign up for your class?
Well, you can
You're
sign
doing
up.
a virtual class, right?
That's right. That's right, Dave. We're doing a class. It starts March 1st. James will put that information on the screen. You can use the QR code to sign up. We'll put the link in the show notes. And hey, we're trying to pack this thing out. So if you are waiting to get started, if you've never done FPU before, this is your chance. If you were looking for inspiration, accountability, this is your chance to sign up. There are no more excuses.
I will warn you, when I was doing small groups, people cried. Now, this is Jade doing the small group, and she looks sweet.
I can make you shed a tear.
She looks pretty, but she's rather mean, I'll just tell you. She's going to get on your stuff if you don't do it.
It's just because I love you. It's all out of love.
That's right.
It's
and
all
she
love.
loves to do it. This is The Ramsey Show. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about life and money. Brett is with us in Provo, Utah. Hi, Brett. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. What's up?
So me and my family, we have been renting for the last year while paying off student loans. We paid off $115,000 of student loans.
Way to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. So we're at a point now where we're looking to save up for a down payment on a house. And the house we would be looking to buy, it would take us about 3 years to get a down payment for that house. But we're wondering if maybe it might just be smarter to wait another 3 years, so a total of 6 years to pay for a house in cash.
How much of a down payment are you doing in 3 years? 50%?
Yeah, it's pretty much close to that. Yeah, houses are pretty
How did you
crazy
determine
here in Utah.
50% as a down payment?
Just for the house we were looking at for $800,000.
And you said you can do 50% of the house price in 3 years.
Right. Yes.
$400,000.
I guess 350 is what I was looking at.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. And what do you make?
260.
Way to go. Good for you. How old are you guys?
I'm 32 and my wife is 29.
Okay. Well, this is one of the maybe the only answer that I ever give here on the air that is not what I would do, but what is okay to do, okay? What I do, the way I live my life for the last 30-plus years now since I went broke, is I don't borrow money, period, for anything ever. And so I have to figure out a way to cash flow it because there is nothing that I want badly enough or that I'm scared enough of to go in debt for it. I have been there, done that. I didn't like the T-shirt. I'm not doing it any more, okay? I truly do believe that the Bible is telling the truth, that the borrower is slave to the lender, and I truly don't borrow money. And I do believe that that is the shortest path to wealth, by the way, okay?
Yes.
The starting few years is rough. But the ending years are amazing.
Yeah.
So now, having said all of that, then it's the only advice we give here on the air that I don't personally follow, and that is if you take out a mortgage with a good, strong down payment, 50% is more than a good, strong down payment would be 10 or 15 or something like that. 20 would avoid PMI. That's good. And your payment on a 15-year fix is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay. If you did that in your case, you could then pay that house off within 6 years.
Right.
And if you could pay cash for it in 6 years, you could pay it off in 6 years. And obviously, anyone who pays their home off in 6 years is way weird compared to the culture. So you're weird no matter where we are on this spectrum.
Yeah.
And you're heading in the your face is under the column of smart people no matter what we do on this spectrum.
That's right.
So either one of those is fine. So it's just a matter of some would call me a legalist, some would call me a purist, some would just call me not a hypocrite, but that I don't borrow. So you can do either by Ramsey guidelines, anywhere in between those two things, and be there. So you could put down 50%, you could put down 80%, you could put down 20% on a 15-year fix where the payment's no more than a fourth of your take-home pay, and it wouldn't be in this case, and then turn and pay it off as fast as you can. All of that is within our guidelines because we know that that's going to lead you to wealth.
Brett, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Way
32.
to go, man. Way to go.
Amazing.
What do you do for a living?
So I'm a nurse anesthetist.
Ah, good. Very good. You're killing it, man.
So, yeah, and that was where I was kind of having the question between the two, just because is there any measure on if it's harder for kids to move when they're older? That was kind of what we were going between two.
I mean, I wouldn't want to wait. I wouldn't want to move in high school if that's what you're asking. I think that kids are very resilient. I think that by the time they, once they put down roots, if you get into those high school years, it can be a little bit tough. But I mean, you can recover from anything. But yeah, when you've got kids now, how?
So the oldest is 7, so 7, 5, and 3.
7, they're all right.
She would be 13. If we waited the full 6 years to pay.
Well, and that's also assuming you get absolutely no increases in income.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, true. That's a good point.
Which is weird because when I start saving towards something that I want really bad, what I'll do is work my butt off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my income goes up and, I'm able to just attack it. And so my guess is that it won't take you as long as the math on a straight line without any increases in pay says, okay, that you should have, because your intensity will go up and your income will probably go up both during this time. So it'll probably be 4 or 5 years. But the same thing's true of paying the house off.
Yeah, exactly.
If you bought it and we're living in it. So we're not going to yell at you for either one.
I just love the options that you're looking at. I love that you're calling in here talking about 50% down or 100% down. That's a wonderful quandary to be in. You've got options.
You got your head in the right place, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so, again, I truly do believe these principles, and so I truly believe that if I live them, I'm going to be the safest in the event of a pandemic. I'm sitting in a building that's worth, I don't know, what's this thing worth now? $300 million, and it's paid for. It's paid for. And so I didn't have to worry during the pandemic that we couldn't make the payments here.
Yeah.
Okay. That allows this bald head to lay on a pillow and sleep. It just is a different world. Joe's in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Jay.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for taking my call. My question is, I'm kind of, I own a business. My father just passed away, so we're still navigating the situation.
I'm sorry. How long ago did he pass?
New Year's.
Oh.
Sorry to hear that.
And thank you. And it's trying to get everything together, and I can't slow down. I'm, got my foot to the pedal trying to get this business in the right direction still, and recouping from losing him is a vital part of it. But my main question is well, we do have debt for the company. I've been personally working on the baby steps for over a year now. I'm like on baby step 3 because I got to attack my daughter's college because I neglected that for so long. So now I'm torn between, do I focus on the business debt or focus on my debt?
You signed for the business debt. It's all your debt.
I am.
Legally, it's all personal debt.
How much is it?
605.
605,000?
Yes.
Okay. What's the business making? What's your income?
About 5.5.
Okay.
$5.5 million top line?
Yes.
What are you netting?
I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head.
Okay. That's your next new job when you get off the phone is learn your numbers to run your business. Okay. You need to know what your numbers are. As an entree leader, I'm going to say small business to small business. You don't stay open if you don't learn your numbers and stay on them. You need to know what you're making all the time. That needs to be like top of mind. And it's not because you're money obsessed. It's because money's the scorecard that tells you the health of your business. It tells you whether you got a disease inside there or not. Okay, so you got to figure that out. What did you pay taxes on last year? What was your income tax filing on? How much money?
I think it was like right at 4.8.
Your personal income tax.
Oh, personal. I'm sorry. I was thinking about business. 100.
Okay, your business did not make $4.8 million and you only personally made 100. Something's wrong with your equation there. If you're making a profit of $1 million a year, just pay them both off and shut up. Okay, if you're making a profit of $100,000 a year, then you need to prioritize your debts at home and get rid of the small ones first, and then we'll work on the 605. And that's the way it is. But you need to figure out what money you got to work with. You can't even tell us. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jade. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm your host, Dave Ramsey. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. We'll be taking your questions at 888-825-5225. You jump in and we'll talk. 888-825-5225. Sean's in Wichita Falls, Texas. Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. So about a year ago, me and my wife, we were expecting our second child. So we sold our house and upgraded this to a little bit bigger of a home for our growing family. And so now, with everything being kind of a buyer's market and all, I am actually relocating for my job. And so we don't know how much equity we would actually get. We've talked to some realtors and feel like we would probably maybe just get back what we put in, and didn't know if relocating, if we should rent out our house or if we should just go ahead and sell it, even though we may not get much back.
Where are you moving to?
Abilene, Texas.
How far is that from Wichita Falls?
It's about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I want to circle back to the part where you have real estate agents telling you your house has not gone up in value and that this is a buyer's market. It's not a buyer's market. It's a seller's market. There's a shortage of inventory. The white-hot sales of 83 offers over the weekend are gone, thank God. But houses are selling. There are more buyers than there are sellers, which by definition makes it a seller's market. The rate of sale, the number of sales is slowed because some people are sitting on the sidelines in terms of buying, but your house has not dove in value. When did you buy this house?
We bought it just about a year ago, February 2022.
Okay. You might not make enough in 1 year to cover the expenses. You might come out less than you out of pocket. And what you put in, you might not get all of that back out at net of expenses, because the house would have had to go up 10% in value to cover expenses 1 year later. Okay? So it's in a normal real estate market, selling a house 1 year later is unusual to make money in a normal market. Okay? And that's more what we're in today than we were 18 months ago, 24 months ago. This is more of a normal market in terms of the rate of time it takes to sell the house and so forth. So that does, I'll back off then and say your real estate agents may be giving you actual good information and by, that telling you it's going to take a little while to sell the house. It always has, except for around a thing called a pandemic. But other than that, for 30 years I've had my real estate license, it takes 90 to 120 days to sell a house, except for a short period of time there when a monkey could sell a house in 20 minutes. But those days are gone, hopefully. It's not good for the economy when it gets white hot like that. So anyway, but it would have been good for you. It would have been nice. So here's the thing. You do not want a long-distance landlord 2.5 hours away. Mm-mm. Sell it, even if you lose some money. The job you took, is it more money?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Why are you going?
I am taking a youth pastor job, so I've been working for a organization called Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Yeah.
Missionary funded. So it was just kind of a thing that I did for a year, and now we feel like God's leading us back to the church. So
you were pastoring, and then you went on missionary status with FCA, which is their normal methodology, and then you decided to go back on staff and move to Abilene.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good for you. And what are you going to be making?
Right now, we're still working out some of the details, but probably about $50,000.
Good. Okay, good for you. Okay. Yeah, please sell the house. You cannot afford a $5,000 or a $10,000 problem with a house 2.5 hours away because you can't keep your fingers on it. It's a liability. It's not an asset.
That's right. And not only that, but the temptation is going to be, if you were to keep that house, then you go over here and move to Abilene, you're going to want to buy a house there. And before you know it, you're going to have 2 mortgages. You're going to be out of order on the baby steps. So yet another reason to sell the house, save up. You're kind of back at baby step 3B at this point.
Yeah. The blessings of the Lord have no sorrow added to them, the psalmist says. And so when you look at this house 2 years from now, are you going to consider it a blessing when you've been trying to rent it 2.5 hours away? The answer is no. Rental investment real estate is a good plan, not when you're broke and not when you got no equity, which means the house probably won't even rent for enough to cover the payments. So you need to sell this house even if you don't get out as much as you put in, net of expenses. So good question, Sean. Thank you for being sensitive to the Lord's leading. Well done. Nathan's with us in Wisconsin. Hi, Nathan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How's she going?
Better than we deserve, brother. What's up?
Beautiful. So I know the normal order of the baby steps, but I have a 14% mortgage that is variable rate.
Good Lord.
So I'm wondering if I should hit that first.
Why? Are your credits suck?
Because I'm really dumb and really wanted the house. It was 11% horrible, but I'm going to do this right and pay it off in 3 years, and then I didn't.
Then you didn't. So is your credit bad?
Yeah, it was never great, and now I ended up with an employer disappearing on me, so now it's really crashed after 2 months of paying everything late.
Okay, so you can't refinance?
No.
How much do you owe on the house?
$34,000.
Oh, not a ton. Okay, it's like a car payment, but a bad one. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what do you make?
I make around $55,000.
How much other debt do you have? What's before this?
I owe $17K on the Coyote tractor and another $60K on some family land.
You have a $17,000 tractor and a $34,000 house. Does that not sound wicked weird to you? It does to me.
Yeah, I went new shiny at the dealership and shouldn't have. I'm probably going to sell it in the spring.
Yeah, I think you need to sell it. I think that needs to go away. And so 17,000 and 34. And what was the other one?
$60K on land.
Around $60,000
on land that you don't live on.
Part of a family farm.
A part of a family farm. So you bought into when somebody died.
It was due to my dad's financial situation. It was either buy it or lose it.
Okay, Nathan, you need to stop doing impulsive crap.
You need to change your ways.
All three of these purchases were bad ideas. You see the pattern, brother? Yeah, sell the tractor and take 6 jobs and pay off your house. And Dad needs to get his crap together and buy the land back so you don't have that debt. Quit making impulsive financial decisions. You're going broke, brother. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to save up to 40% off everything site-wide. Go to Blinds.com for more information. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Every year at tax time, it's the same old story. A boatload of people wait until the last minute, scramble to get their taxes done on time, and folks, you're smarter than that. There are benefits to filing early. For starters, it means you can get ahead of any surprises and give yourself time to make a plan if you end up owing money to the IRS. So once you've got your W-2s, your 1099s from your employer, you should be, which you should have gotten by now or any second now, go ahead and knock out your taxes. If you like to file on your own, you can get all your ducks in a row. E-file with confidence using Ramsey Smart Tax. It's our no-nonsense online tax software created to help you win with money. Ramsey Smart Tax gives you everything you need to file your tax return, and you'll know exactly what it'll cost up front. No hidden fees, no sneaky agendas, and you get a deal. You save up to 70% if you switch to Ramsey Smart Tax from a leading competitor. Go to RamseySolutions.com/SmartTax and get your taxes in your rear view mirror. RamseySolutions.com/SmartTax. Jade, our last caller, I've been that guy. I've known that guy my whole life. And the Bible says, he who is impulsive exalts folly. Now, that's a proverb from the wisdom literature. Now, let's talk about that. Impulsive exalts folly. Folly is the verb of a fool in action. When I am impulsive, I am lifting up a fool in action. I'm exalting it. I am worshiping it. I am becoming it. And so when we make particularly large decisions impulsively, here's what's interesting. I know nerds who will spend days studying consumer reports, studying manufacturer ratings, specifications, all to spend $1,000 or $2,000 on something like a computer.
Sure.
And then impulse a $50,000 car.
It doesn't make sense.
But they do it. And I'll tell you, one of the most things that Americans impulse, the largest things that we buy that goes down in value, and one of the things that we impulse worse than anything else is cars. And these cars have gotten people in trouble. You went off on this last week, and your little trashing, going after people for being stupid with $1,300 car payments has gone viral. Something like 10 million people saw the clip already. It's wild. And then Bloomberg comes out today and says Americans are falling behind on car payments at a higher rate than any time, 3 times as bad as 2009.
Well, I wonder
last
why.
Great Recession.
I wonder why, Dave. Because people are taking these notes. It says there's a growing cohort of Americans facing auto repossessions. This is an ominous sign for the U.S. economy. During the pandemic, a surge in used car prices forced buyers
they had a gun
to take out bigger loans. And that right there, forced.
Yep, you were forced.
That's the word.
You didn't have a choice.
Well, here's the thing. On that
I mean, you had to have a $74,000 Raptor, and so you were forced.
And that's what I saw. Dave, if you look at the comments on that post, that is what people are saying. What's our choice? What was our choice, Jade?
Your choice is don't be stupid. That's your choice.
That's your choice.
Don't be stupid. Try not being stupid. That's a good choice.
And then the other side of it, the other side of reality, like you said, the people who chose to go against the grain are saying, hey, I just bought a car in cash that I could afford. It's getting me from point A to point B, and when the right time comes, I upgrade. So there is a cohort of Americans who do have the right idea, Dave.
There's some smart people.
There are some people.
And there's some stupid people.
Yeah. There's a lot of stupid people, Dave. 85% of Americans have car notes. And of those 85% of Americans, 15% of them have a car note of $1,000 or more.
It's just hard to wrap my bald head around.
1,000.
I just can't even get my head around that. So here's the thing. If you put that, as Jade did, in a calculator and talked about it last week in that piece that went viral, if you invest a car payment for just a couple of decades, you will have over $1 million. You'll have $5 million if you do it for 3 decades.
Thank you.
And so I don't have the money saved for my kids' college. It's because you're stupid. And you put all your money in a car payment. That's why you got no money. You were stupid.
And can you talk to the people, Dave? Because I tried to tell them. I said the same thing you said. And do you know what they said to me? Where are you getting a 10% rate of return? Who's going to invest their money over 30 years, Jade? And do you want to know what the answer is?
Millionaires.
That's how people make their money. If you're listening and you don't understand that.
This is not a car problem. This is a YOLO problem.
Yes.
You only live once. Oh, you sweet little child. Listen, adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good.
Bingo.
Very few people who are successful are whiners. They don't walk around with a big V on their forehead that says victim. I can't get a car. I want a car that's safe. Oh, shut up.
They roll up their sleeves and they work.
Seriously.
There's people here who roll up their sleeves and work. There are actual people in the world who will set aside a portion of their income for 20, 30 years and invest it into their 401k, into their IRA, and they become millionaires.
That's what we call them, millionaires.
We hear them every day on the air. So for all of those people...
And they weren't forced to do that.
They weren't forced. But for all of these folks out here yakety-yakking, talking yak talk about, oh, you can't get a 10% rate of return. Here's what I kept hearing. What stocks give you an annual rate of 10% return?
The stock market has averaged 11.8% since it began.
Dave.
Hello.
And if Dave is saying it...
Look at the S&P 500. That's the average on it since it began, 11.8.
That's the average.
For 80 years, you dumb butt. This is not hard.
We're sitting here telling you, you got Dave Ramsey, who's got more money than anybody you know. And then Forbes magazine tells us the number one payment keeping people broke is their car note. It's not just us. So if you want to think it's just Ramsey Solutions, they're the only folks out here saying this. That is not the case. The case is 85% of people have car notes.
Here's the thing.
67% of people are living paycheck to paycheck.
If you quit whining and work,
what a concept.
then what you'll have is the ability to sacrifice to win. See, adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. Here's the thing. So when I went broke, we lost everything. We had one car with a payment on it. I reaffirmed it out of bankruptcy. And I'm paying my payment. And my wife would have left, but we only had one car. And so, I mean, we were mad, we were hurt, we were wounded, whining like some of you people are. And a guy loaned me a car because I refused to, that's it, I'm not borrowing any more money. He loaned me a 1978 Cadillac with 478,000 actual miles on it. The predominant color on it was Bondo. The vinyl roof was torn loose across the front, so when you drove it, it filled up with air. It looked like a parachute. I'm driving a Bondo buggy with a parachute on top. Now, you know what I was driving before that? Before I went broke? A Jaguar. I went from Jaguar to parachute Bondo buggy. Because you know what happens when you go broke? You don't care what other people think anymore.
You don't care.
I lost my need to impress your butt at a stoplight. And so I go into a nice neighborhood in that car. The cops are following me, think I'm there to rob somebody. And so I got profiled based on my car. Can you imagine that?
I can.
And so, I drove like no one else. And I saved up and I paid cash for a $1,000 car, which is an incredible upgrade.
Yep.
And gave my buddy his blessing back that he had loaned me. And then we move on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
And we save up and we buy a $3,000 car, and we save up and we buy a $10,000 car. You know, I drove like no one else, so now I drive anything I freaking want.
Come
Shut
on,
up,
Dave.
you whiner.
Come on, Dave.
Seriously.
Y'all need to know what it feels like to work.
And stop your whining. It's not becoming. The wussification of America, the things you think you have to survive, is sickening. It's sickening. For a short period of time, pay a price to win. No one wins without paying a price. The repo rate on you idiots right now is 3 times what it was in 2009 in the Great Recession. It's the worst repo rate we've seen in 30 years. Stop it! Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Brock and Rachel are with us. They are on the debt-free stage right here in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions. Hey, guys, what's up?
Hi.
Hey. Welcome. Where do y'all live?
In Houston.
Houston, Texas. Welcome to Nashville.
Thank
How
you.
much debt have you paid off?
$500,000.
How long did this take?
5 years, 60 months to the day.
Wow.
Awesomeness. And what was your income range during that time?
Started about 160 and ended about 220.
Wow, that's incredible. What kind of debt was this that you paid off?
Oh, let me tell you, a lot of ignorance.
Are you getting out the list out of your pocket?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's hear
This
it.
is a 5-year list that we kept.
Oh, my goodness.
It was 2 homes, credit cards, a loan to buy her a wedding band, a new HVAC system for our house, a new car, some floors, all kinds
Just
of
living life.
You were normal.
Yeah, normal, just like everybody else.
Normal.
Wow.
So what was the wake-up call 60 exact months ago?
We got married.
Oh.
We both came into marriage with different amounts of debt, and we just realized that that's not what we wanted to build our marriage on, and we wanted to have more fun.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Our church decided to bring you on a board for FPU, and sure enough, the light went off at that point. And
Very cool. What church did you go to?
Second Baptist.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, we had a big deal there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we were there.
Yeah, very good. Good for y'all. So that church doing Financial Peace University church-wide got you guys plugged in.
Absolutely.
And about the time that you wanted to be anyway.
Yes, sir.
We were
So-
dating at the time.
Right.
And so we were actually in separate small groups, but having really good conversations on afterwards of what we wanted our life to look like if we got married. And so that was our...
How much
big turn.
later were you married after that?
Less than a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
It was real quick.
Yep.
But I will be honest with you, it took about a year before I finally got mad enough to actually do something the right way.
I was
Okay.
going to ask, were you both immediately on board, or was somebody... so
She was.
you were the reluctant one.
I'm the spender. So, hey, I want to keep buying.
Oh, okay. So how'd you whoop that out of him, Rachel?
I didn't. I did. It was a lot of conversations. My parents did Financial Peace University, and so they gave me the book, I think in college, if not right after. And I was like, this is cute, but I'm good. And it wasn't until we realized that we were having to deal with debt and deciding what we were going to do with our money, and if we were going to be dictated by our debt, or if we were actually going to prepare a life for our kids one day that we wanted. And so it really was doing it together that we decided, like, we have to do this. But then a year later, it came down to, I don't know what huge hit happened.
I looked at her, and she's about 3 months away from giving birth to our first son. And I said, this ain't happening no more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
the baby coming. That does.
Yes.
That's a wake-up call.
Yes,
That'll
sir.
do it.
Yes.
Ding, ding. Yeah.
Mhm.
This just got real.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going to saddle her, and I'm surely not going to saddle him with my ignorance.
Right.
There you go.
So we fixed it quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. So
Way to go, you guys.
This
Well
is
done.
amazing.
Yeah, and I told her the other, probably back in November, it got pretty tough there at the end. As you can imagine, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, but that tunnel seems to get longer and longer. And we just did a few numbers, and we realized we had a really good income, but we were only living on $50,000 a year.
Wow.
Everything went to the debt. And
So you mean you can actually live on less than you make?
and we did, and it was tough
Dramatically.
because our friends, they live high on the hog, and
Yeah.
we thought we were weird. Well, we were, now that Ramsey was weird, but
It is.
we felt like we were missing out, and now I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
You were missing out.
Yep.
You were missing out on stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was a teacher
Well
before I
done,
stayed
y'all.
home with our boys. And so I always thought, well, I don't have the income to do this. I don't have enough money to save or enough money to truly get out of debt. And it wasn't until we realized like how much money we were actually spending that we didn't have that I could have done that years before. And so that's one thing I regret, not doing it sooner.
Yeah. And I've told her a number of times, I wish I wouldn't have been that stupid prior to knowing her and settling her with my
Yeah, well, we
bad
all
decisions.
got that in our rearview mirror.
Sure.
That's okay. That's okay. The trick is the change. The trick is the transformation, which you've both gone through. So did you say this is house and everything?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Way to go. Y'all are so weird.
Yeah. on December 30th, her, the two boys, all four of us walked into Wells Fargo and said, "Get out my house."
Okay.
Broke up.
I love it.
And we had all the bankers come out, and they said, "This isn't normal." I said, "Good, because I ain't never coming back."
So how long has it been since you made that final mortgage payment?
It is 1 month today.
Ooh, so you're feeling it now. You're starting to feel that good. Wow.
What's your first big thing y'all are going to do?
Coming here.
This is it.
I mean,
This was our trip.
I mean, after this, yeah.
Oh, gosh, after this.
Do more.
You don't have any payments.
No, we don't.
Actually, one thing that we talked about when we were redoing our budget of, okay, how much we want to put towards savings. Like, this is our new income. We don't have debt. How much we want to do. And we realized that we really want to put that money back into savings to buy him a car soon because he's driving one of those reliable old cars.
13 years old.
Yeah, you need to get another car. Yeah.
So want that. But we also wanted to put a line in our budget of just giving, of being able to like pay for someone's meal, you know, or buy groceries for somebody and not feel like, well, now we don't have that money to do something. And so we put a line item in our budget of just being able to spoil other people.
Random acts of kindness.
Yes. I think both of our parents did an amazing job of teaching us the joy that you get from giving.
Good.
And I think that's what I'm most excited about going forward in the next 5-10 years is like the best is yet to come for our boys, of like the life that we get to do with them, but then how we get to teach them to be generous.
You teach them to hear God whisper and say, take care of that lady over there.
Yeah,
exactly.
we actually have a thing we say, I read it in a book, and it's look for the God winks along the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
That.
That's good. That's a good word. Yeah. Well done, y'all. Well done. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
How's it feel to be completely free?
Really good. I was telling him this trip has been hard because I'm so used to counting pennies and like, well, are we on our budget? Have we spent too much? And it's been nice just to relax and enjoy our income. So that's been fun.
Yeah, it's fun to know we're okay. To know I'm not going to make her hurt by doing something a little too much or a little too little. And I will tell you, the last month was really tough at work. And then to walk in January 2nd and say, I don't care what happens. I'll go push carts around at Lowe's and be just as happy now because I don't have to pay anybody anymore. Whew.
Changes the way you work.
Yes,
changes
ma'am.
the motivation behind
Yes, ma'am.
what
I'm there because I
do.
want to be there now.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a choice now.
Yes, sir.
Well done, y'all.
Thank you.
What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Doing it together. I think if we hadn't have been on the same page and had the same vision, it wouldn't have happened. And I was lucky enough that I had parents that introduced me to this whole concept before. But then I had a sweet friend, Kelly, that through our single days of all of the weddings and all the bridesmaids dresses that we had to buy and all of that, she was the one that would eat before we would go out to eat, and she would eat chips and salsa, and that's it, because that was not in her budget that month. And it gave me the support of like, someone else is doing it, I can do it too. And so I would just say to find someone to do it with, because then you don't feel like you're on an island. You're doing it together.
Yeah. You know, and for me, when I said it took about a year till I got mad, and it's the age-old adage that everyone has said, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Decided to draw a line in the sand.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Change your life.
Yep.
Way to go, y'all.
Thank you.
Way to go. Hey, we've got the Live and Give bundle for you, the Baby Steps Millionaires book, the Total Money Makeover book, and another Financial Peace University membership. That'll help you with your generosity plan. You'll be able to give those and catch somebody and get them going, get them motivated, moving in your they can have the same story you've had or their version of your story. So way to go, y'all.
Thank you.
You're why we come down here. You're inspiring. Very, very well done. Brock and Rachel, Houston, Texas, $500,000 paid off in 60 months. That's 5 years for those of you that are counting. And they did that 100% house and everything.
Yes.
No payments anywhere. Woo! 160,000 to 200,000 income, living on 50. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! Yeah, baby! Yeah! I don't know where those people live. They have paid for cars and a paid for house. Next door to you. That's where they live. This is The Ramsey Show. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. Alexander is in Philadelphia. Hi, Alexander. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate your time.
Sure. What's up?
So I want to buy a garage ornament, and I want to be on the smart side of the spectrum and have a conversation with you before I end up on the stupid side of the spectrum.
Okay. How expensive a car?
All said and done, everything, it's about $130,000.
Cool. What do you make?
Take home with me and my wife, it's about $14,000 a month with net.
So 150 grand?
I don't. Whatever the net is, of that, I don't know.
Probably close to 200. Yeah. Okay. All right.
As far as debt is concerned, well, why don't you ask the question?
That's okay. How much debt do you have? That's good. That's okay. How much debt?
$150,000.
On what?
My house.
Okay. And what's your nest egg? How much money you got?
I got about $800,000 in retirement. I got about $430,000, in liquid assets, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have two sons, and I have about $90,000 in each of their 529 plans.
Okay. So the rule of thumb I use on toys, which you're at the level of toy on this.
Yeah.
And I've got some toys. So the rule of thumb I use and that I teach.
I'm sorry, I'm a guy. It's in my DNA.
That's okay, man.
I don't have a car payment. I have a Subaru. I had enough.
You're going to pay cash for this car, right?
I'm going to do what you tell me. I mean, if you say no,
okay. If you're not going to pay cash for it, don't do it. Number one rule. Okay. Number two rule is cars go down in value. Things with motors and things with wheels. Cars, boats, Sea-Doos, their sisters. I've got a bunch of things that go wooden, and I like stuff like that, but they all lose value. And so we don't want to have a general rule of thumb is you're a millionaire, okay, a little over $1 million net worth, if I understood the numbers correctly, and it sounds like you make a couple of hundred a year. The trick is we use a rule of thumb that says don't buy things with cars with motors and wheels all total, including your other car, your Subaru, other stuff like that, that equal more than half your annual income because they go down, and we want to have small amounts of things going down in our life. Now, you've got an unusually high net worth. You're paying cash for this. You're probably going to violate that 50% when you buy it. Okay? Matter of fact, we know you are because you make about $200 a year, and you're going to spend $130 just on this one car, and your other cars on top of that are going to put you over that. Normally, I would say that's a no-go. It kind of makes me question it here a little bit.
What's your question?
Well, I mean, I just don't want to put too much in things that go down in value, and I'm trying to look at the ratios of your net worth.
It is like, not to, it is a Nissan GTR. I don't know if you know anything about Nissan GTRs, but they're very, very, very hard to find.
Yeah, they are.
And if you go on Auto Trader or something like that right now, they're astronomically priced even in the used market.
Likelihood.
And even if you're lucky to find a new one.
The new Raptor just came out, 700 horsepower. They're running about 120. Okay, but they're not going to go up in value.
I understand.
Even though they're much like your Nissan that you're talking about. I've looked at that car. It's a very sweet car. And so, you can do it, but what you've got to realize is you've put a little bit more into a depreciating asset. Because 10 years from now, let's face it, that thing's not going up in value.
No.
I mean, I've got a 1960 Corvette that's frame-up restoration that is fabulous, and I've had it for probably 10 years. I don't think it's gone up a dime in value. I don't think it's gone down any, but it might have gone up a little bit. But the classic cars, some of them like that, some of them will go up a little, or a super, super rare item, that you can't get, like stuff that's running off the auto auction, that kind of stuff, the rare car auctions. Sometimes those will go up in value, but I don't think your Nissan's going to qualify, and I don't think that Raptor is going to qualify for that. So anyway, all that to say, the way I'm not going to tell you what to do. The way I make decisions is, am I putting too much of my asset base in things that are going down rather than up? And normally our guideline is A, pay cash, B, don't have total of more than 50% of your household income in there. Now, an exception to that would be, let's say you called in, you had $8 million in mutual funds, and your household income was $100,000. Well, we wouldn't hold to that 50% of the $100,000, right?
I see what you're saying.
Because you could afford to buy the thing for $130 if you had $8 million and drive it off a cliff tomorrow, and you wouldn't even notice financially.
Right.
That's the point. So you're right on that. You don't have $8 million, but you got $1.5 million. Probably we didn't talk about your house equity, but you're right on that, and you're doing great. So you're not going to go bankrupt because of this, but I wouldn't go buy another one.
Alex.
No, this is it for me. I mean, I don't drive a fancy car.
You're about to.
Not really like that, but I just I've always liked this car for the last however many years it's been out.
It's a sweet vehicle.
I just don't want to. I think I respect everything that you say. You obviously are in the man of position for a reason. So I just didn't want to.
Well, you see, like you get the principles I'm using.
Yeah, I understand. I completely understand what you're saying.
And so, based on those principles, you're on the bubble. You wouldn't be on the dumb side. If your net worth was $500,000, I'd say don't do it. Okay.
Yeah, my house is worth a pretty good amount of money too, and I don't owe that much on the house. Like I said, I only owe $150 on the house.
What's it worth?
So, I just had my real estate agent look at it. He said $1.6 million, $1.7 million.
Okay, so your net worth $3 million.
So
yeah, okay.
I feel like that moves the needle.
That does move the needle. That moves it in your favor. See, you see what I'm talking about here? That's the whole thing.
Right, I just don't.
We can rationalize our butts off, and I appreciate you calling. I appreciate the spirit. You're being humble about it. You're not being smart aleck. You're not being sarcastic. You really did want to know.
That house threw it over the edge, in my book.
You're okay then?
Yeah, okay. I'm good. I'm sleeping good tonight, Alexander, if you buy this car, and I'm happy for you.
And she's the one that just yelled at all of America about car payments. So just keep in mind that's
Get you that $130,000 car. He's got over $2 million in net worth.
Three.
Yeah. No, definitely get it. And get me one too. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there you go. That is a sweet vehicle. Y'all look it up if you hadn't looked it up. Oh man. All right. That's the thing. And these numbers do change. Here's an example. Okay, everybody says, okay, what percentage of my income should I spend on food?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, if we give you a percentage that's true for people that make $100,000, what if somebody made $1 million?
That's right.
They don't need to spend that much on food because they'd be large.
And in charge.
Okay. I mean, so these things skew out. If you have a very low income, you're, very poor. Okay. You're just barely getting started. You have to spend a larger percentage of your income on food.
That's right.
So, to just meet necessities.
Mm-hmm.
So these things skew out. The principles that we give you skew out based on net worth, based on income being at extremes. And a $3 million net worth is an extreme in America today. The guy's very successful. Way to go, Alexander.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
The thing is, you just got to get these principles down. Quit buying $50,000 cars when you make $50,000 and you got no money.
Right.
That's just straight up stupid. That's the point of these principles, and he's not even in that same book, much less the same chapter or the same page.
Well, that's the point. Dave, we yell at people a lot for doing dumb stuff, but we're equally happy for the people who have worked hard. They've got the money. Then yes, spend your money. Money is fun to spend. It's fun to give, save, and spend.
It's fun to enjoy.
It's fun to enjoy.
That's
and I think people think that we have forgotten that, but we have not forgotten that. No. It is fun to spend.
No, I've been able to buy some of the things in my life that I always wanted since I was a little bitty kid. I've got Mastercraft ski boats.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievably expensive boat. But that's when I was a little kid. And
that sounds like a fast boat.
We got to ski behind the Mastercraft the first time, and we're up on the slalom course. I thought, man, if I ever make it, I'm going to get me a Mastercraft. So I got me a Mastercraft boat. I mean, that's how this works, y'all.
Look at that.
There you go. This is The Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm your host, Dave Ramsey. Jake Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. As we answer your questions, you jump in. The phone number is 888-825-5225. As a reminder, if you love this show, leave a 5-star review. Mama said if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So we appreciate you doing that. And those of you that listen on podcasts or YouTube, subscribe and share the show. And if you're listening on talk radio, like millions of you do, spread the word. That's also sharing. Just say, hey, here's where I listen. Here's the talk radio station I listen to. Here's when they're on. Be sure and do that. And a reminder, the show is going to become broadcast as well, 1 hour a day of it at 5 o'clock. On a TBN beginning next week.
Woohoo!
And so you'll be able to pick it up there as well. So we're just like everywhere. That's what we do. So help us spread the word, share it, rate it, subscribe it. All that kind of stuff helps. And if you want to pay us back for having helped you, that's how you do it. You tell people about it. That's how the show grows. We don't have $300 million to spend on advertising like SoFi. There won't be a stadium named after us. Or Nerd Wallet. We're not going to spend the money they spend just to be famous. We're going to be famous by helping you and you spreading the word. So thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're what got us here, and you're what'll take us there. So that's what we exist for. Jake is with us to start off this hour. Jake's in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Jake. How are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Me too. So I've got a question. Me and my fiance are getting married in May.
Yay!
And, yeah, thank you.
How old are you?
We're combining 22. We're both 22.
Very cool.
So we're combining our assets and our finances and whatnot. And I'm mainly, all my investments are in the S&P 500 and 401k.
Mm-hmm.
Hers is spread out with like single stocks. So my idea, my thinking was I wanted to get it into S&P 500, maybe a couple mutual funds, and not the single stocks because, she's up right now with them. But, the S&P 500 is something that you can just leave your money in and let it grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How much is it in single stocks?
About $45,000.
Good. Very good. Good for you. Well, it's great that y'all are talking about this ahead of time. It's very well done. And your play would be better than her play. Agreed. The S&P 500, an index fund would be a better play. I don't personally use the S&P 500 for my 401k, nor do we recommend it. Instead, we actually pick mutual funds that as a group will outperform the S&P 500. And there are a number of funds that do outperform it. There are a number of funds that don't. So you have to look carefully and get some people in your corner to help you do that. But we spread our investments across 4 types in retirement accounts: growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. Full disclosure, I use an S&P 500 to park money in way beyond having been 100% debt-free, way beyond having $1 million net worth, way beyond having my 401ks and IRAs fully funded in the 4 types I'm talking about. But like when I'm saving up for 5 years or 3 years or 2 years for a piece of real estate, I'll just throw money in there to park it short term.
Like a savings account.
Long-term savings account. I wouldn't do it for 2 months, but I mean for a period of time, because I can make more on it than you're going to make in a stupid CD or something. So, but I don't use it for retirement. Around here, we've always said be across those 4 types.
So then we could move her money into some of those 4 types.
Yeah.
And
growth.
Maybe my money
I would be 20.
S&P.
What we teach is 25% in each: growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. And look for long track records. And if you're pulling up the data on them on the website, it's going to show an S&P overlay on it. It's going to say here this fund XYZ. Here's what it's performed for the past 25 years or for past 15 years, and here's what the S&P has done. And if it doesn't beat the S&P, for God's sakes, don't do it. Just do an S&P.
Right.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Jake, what's your wife's take on this? When you've talked about it, what's her reaction?
She's ready to do it. She's, we've talked a lot about money and, we know each other's finances. We're completely debt-free.
Good.
She went to college debt-free. I never went to college. We have a pretty decent income too.
What is that? What's your income?
About 160 to 180.
Wow.
I'm in sales, so it goes ups and down.
When it's combined, that's what it'll be.
Yeah, when it's combined, that's what it'll be.
You're 22 years old, 100% debt free. You make 180K. Y'all are going to be so freaking rich.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go,
That's
man.
the scary part.
Way to
I'm
go.
adding up the money, and I'm like, man.
No, that's not scary. That's a wonderful place to be, Jake.
It's a responsibility. You have to be careful and cautious, and you're wise to do that. So basically what we're saying is the S&P 500 is what's called passive investing, and there's a whole group of people that believe in that because some mutual funds don't outperform it, and that's fine. It's just I think you can do better, but full disclosure, I use both, and so my portfolio that I'm outlining would have, if you're not real careful, would have more risk than yours, but a lot less than hers. And so that's kind of where we're kind of over on your side of the coin there, but just past you a little bit. Okay. And then she's way over there, in the high risk stuff with the stocks. So yeah, I'm getting out of the single stocks and I'm going to be in mutual funds, preferably across those 4 that outperform the S&P, if not be in the S&P.
I like it. That's what I would do. That is what I do.
And it does work. I mean, you can look at the data, the millionaire data from the millionaire study that we did. That's we put the white paper on it in the back of the Baby Steps Millionaires book. So if you want to read the whole study, it's back there. But what we found is the typical millionaire, it's doing their 401k. And truthfully, if he just does the S&P, he's easily going to be there with his income.
He'll be fine. Mm-hmm.
Easily. The single stocks just have way too much risk. For me, I don't like the risk of it. And the data on people that buy and sell single stocks is they don't outperform.
Right. So the rule of thumb with single stocks would be keep it a very, very, very low percentage of your world if you were going to dabble in them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We say 10% max of your net worth. So like if you work at a place and you really believe, you work for Apple and you really believe it's going to be a great stock, which it is a great stock, and you want to buy that as a long-term, as an employee benefit. And you're going to you get it, most places give you 15% discount as an employee buying stock. So you're just dying to own some Apple stock and you're an Apple executive. Well, that's fine. Just don't let it be more than about 10% of your net worth. Because years ago, Jade, I was coaching a lady. It's really sad. She had worked for Procter & Gamble for many, many, many years, like, 30 or 40 years. And she'd moved all of her 401k money into Procter & Gamble stock, and she was just retiring about the time it went down. It went down like 40%. So she had like $700,000 that turned into like $300,000 or $400,000. I mean, it went almost in half, and it just
that's
that lack of diversification though left her susceptible to that. That's what it amounts to. This is the Ramsey Show. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. So I just saw Babylon Bee popped up in my feed that payday lenders have now set up on the egg aisle. Anytime the price of eggs is making headlines, you're dealing with a wacky economy, but even news about layoffs and on and again, off again recession, crazy high interest rates. This is a weird time we're in right now. And we're here to give you a plan for your money. So we want you to join us for our Building Wealth live tour as we show you how to build wealth and keep it. George Camel, Rachel Cruz, Jade Warshaw will be in Indianapolis in just a couple of weeks, February the 16th. Then Ken Coleman, Dr. John Deloney, Jade Warshaw, and I will be in Austin on February the 23rd. Next is Building Wealth Salt Lake City, April 24th with George, Rachel, and Christina Ellis. And finally, we're closing out the tour in Anaheim on May the 2nd. Ken Coleman, Dr. John Deloney, and Christina Ellis. Tickets are only $49 for each of these events. Come out. We would love to have you. These events are exciting. They're fun. If you're part of the tribe, it's kind of like coming to the pep rally.
Yeah, absolutely that.
It's you just want to come out and just be with other people that are trying to win with money and that are that are doing weird things, not normal, like the crazy people in the culture. And you don't want to be conformed to this world. You want to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and that's what we're doing. We're going to show you how to win even in all of this weird, wacky stuff that's going on, and show you how to not panic. Facts are your friends when you got this stuff going on. So go to RamseySolutions.com/events. Get your tickets. They're only $49 for Indianapolis, Austin, Salt Lake City, and, of course, Anaheim, May the 2nd. So that's our schedule for that particular live event that's going to be running all over the place this spring.
Exciting.
Angela is with us in Odessa, Texas. Hi, Angela. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi. How are you guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I just have a quick question. We are 26. The only debt we have is our home mortgage, which sits at $169,000, and we currently have about a little over $11,000 into cryptocurrency. And our question was, what would be the next step? Would we leave it there, or would we take it out and invest that money somewhere else?
Well, if I'm you, I am not going to stay invested in crypto. The track record has been poo-poo over the long haul. So I would take that money out almost instantly. Are you guys investing in 401ks or IRAs, anything for retirement?
Because currently my husband is the only one working, and he does have I believe he has a 401k and a Roth, I believe it's called.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any money set aside for savings that's kind of liquid that you can get to?
Yes, we do.
How much?
I want to say we have about $13,000 right now.
Okay. So you got a good solid emergency fund, and then it's time to do some real investing. Crypto is gambling.
Right.
And I think you know, I don't know. Do you know that the last year and a half have been really unkind to crypto?
Yes, I remember watching it during COVID, right after we invested, and I remember watching it go really low and then going back up high, and now we're just sitting there.
But, I mean, you've noticed the news that one of the largest scams in history was perpetrated in crypto?
Yes, sir.
Makes Bernie Madoff look like small potatoes, okay? So the scams are all everywhere around it. It's an unstable place to put money. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I don't put money in places that are unstable. Someday crypto may stabilize, and someday it may have a track record, but until it does, I won't be putting any money in it. And I was saying that back when I had got entire pages of Reddit devoted to hating me, and entire pages of TikTok hating me, and everything, because I'm telling people not to put money in stupid butt crypto.
Come on, Dave.
So, but and now I'm a genius, But I also told them not to invest their money in Beanie Babies a few years ago, and people were believing in that too. So
it's almost like you've lived to see a few things.
It's almost
over the
like
years.
It's almost like that's how I lost my hair. But yeah, so. Joe's in Brooklyn, New York. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Long-time listener and first-time caller.
Thanks. How can we help?
Yeah, so I'm in a bit of a predicament, and it involves basically money that I owe to family and friends, as well as an upside-down car. But I think what kind of led to this situation kind of goes back a few years, maybe 4 to 5 years, when I became heavily involved with Forex trading or currency trading, and eventually got me to a point where I was losing a ton of money, started taking out credit cards and funding kind of that endeavor that way. And then eventually when I ran out of money out of my credit cards. I would start taking out personal loans. Once I couldn't take out any more unsecured loans, I started taking loans against my car, and then eventually ended up borrowing from friends and family. And so
you sound like an addict.
This sounds like an addiction.
Yeah, it was an addiction. And so unfortunately, it got to a breaking point where I had to file for bankruptcy May as of last year. But I did keep my secured loans as well as the money I borrowed from my family. And like I went through therapy and all that. So it was really truly a traumatic time for me. And so
I'm sorry.
Now, and like now I'm at a point where I just really want to, I have been actively trying to tackle this.
So what do you owe on the car?
Yeah, so there are two cars involved. My personal car, I owe $13,600 at a rate of 24%. And during the time, I actually took a loan out, and I used my brother's car as collateral for $4,700, which is the remaining balance as of today.
Okay, and what is the $13,600 car worth?
That's worth right around, say, like $4,300.
Okay. And what do you make?
My net income per month is $65.50.
Okay. And you live in Brooklyn, New York?
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay. Because you got an expensive place to live, right?
No. Luckily, one of my brothers and I, we found a pretty inexpensive place to live. So my rent right now is right around $1,100, which includes utilities, and that's my share.
What do you do for a living?
I am in business development and sales for a tech startup here in Midtown Manhattan.
Okay. If you work more there, does your income change?
As of right now, I'm like tapped out with like the number of hours I'm putting in. I'm like working from like 7:30 in the morning up until like 7:30 in the evening, like Monday through Friday.
All right. Well, here's what I would do if I woke up in your shoes. All right. Are these your only two debts? No, you have the family debt.
Yeah, I have my family debt totaling $90,000.
Okay.
Man, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, your brother's car concerns me more than yours.
Yeah.
Because you need the stress of not screwing up his life off of your back.
Yeah.
That would bother me more than my own personal car. Does it you?
Yes, it does. It's actually been weighing on me.
And they're almost the same amount. No, and it's a smaller amount. I'm sorry, it's 14. So that's easy anyway. So what I would do is, start doing a really, really tight budget and just attack his debt like a vengeance, knock it out, then attack your car debt and just knock it out. There's not another answer for it. You just got to live on absolutely nothing. And really in about 4 or 5 months, you ought to be able to knock both of these out. If you just live on nothing. You don't do anything anyway but work, so you don't need to go out and party or go out to restaurants. You don't have any money. You got to put it all on this. And so, hey, we're going to help you with part of your healing. We're going to put you through Financial Peace University. Hold on, I'll have Austin pick up and get you signed up for that. Thank you for joining us, America. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. Elizabeth is with us in Minneapolis. Hey, Elizabeth, what's up?
Hi. I just have a quick question, maybe a life debate here, honestly. I'm 26 years old. I am a 911 dispatcher, and I'm trying to pay off my debts. I have maybe a total of $600 in medical bills, and then I have a car payment. I got a new car due to some other issues back in 2021. I've been making payments, even extra payments when I can. I have roughly $19,300 left on my car. I recently switched 911 centers because I wanted to work with law enforcement, and I finally had the opportunity to do so. But my old center that I still have connections with and I could go back to is kind of tugging on me in a way, because at my new center, I don't have room for overtime. There's not a lot of overtime because it's a smaller center compared to the center that I was at before.
So you were doing 911 before?
Correct. I've been a 911 dispatcher for five years now.
So why did you change from one center to the other center?
I felt burnt out. I felt that maybe EMS wasn't for me, and I'm now experiencing, unfortunately, as bad as I wanted to do law enforcement. I wanted to do law enforcement dispatch since I started.
Wait a minute, you were doing 911 before. You're doing 911 now. How did you think that was going to solve burnout? I don't understand.
A different center, a different style of calls. I wasn't dealing with the traumatic medical calls compared to now just dealing with passing those said calls along. There's not as much overtime, so I wouldn't be tempted to work as much. At my old center, I would pull like 14 to 16 days in a row without a break. With roughly like anywhere from 6 to 8 hours in between shifts.
So what was the pay cut with you switching centers? How has that affected your income?
The pay cut actually wasn't. I actually got a 40-cent increase switching centers. But I have PARA, which is the Minnesota law enforcement retirement, that they automatically take out because when you first get hired, it's either you.
Yeah, but your income, not your hourly rate. Your income is way down because you're not working nearly as many hours.
Right.
Correct. So
what did you make a year before, and what do you make a year now?
Before it was, I have it written down to me. I apologize. Give me 1 second here.
Here's the thing. If you're not going to work the extra hours at the call center because it's too much on you mentally or it's too much on your mental health, fine, but you got to find a way to fill that gap because you've got this debt that you've got to pay off, right? So if whatever overtime hours that you were working, whether it was 15 or 10 or whatever it was per week, you've got to put that same effort into another job that's making you just as much money. I don't want you to take a pay cut because you got to get out of this debt. And I'm not saying it has to be at the 911 center.
Okay.
What do you make an hour?
And that was like I make $31.81 an hour.
Okay. And your income, and what did you, and so you made $31.40 before?
Correct.
Okay. And, but you're working half as many hours.
I'm working still an 80-hour week or pay period, so 80 hours every 2 weeks. But I don't have that extra like 20 to 30 hours that I would put on myself at my old center.
Right.
So we got to find that elsewhere.
Right. So I guess my question was, I have an opportunity to go back to my old center and get that overtime and help pay off debts, or I would pick up like, I don't know what other type of job other than like maybe Instacart or something just because of how crazy dispatch center hours are.
Yeah, look,
but that wouldn't be as much.
You've already told us that when you were doing 80 plus hours at the old center, it wasn't sustainable. And that's fine. Like, I understand it. I mean, I've never done it, but when you tell me that it's stressful to your mind, I believe you. And that's fine if you don't want to work more than 80 hours at that particular 911 call center at your old one. The point is, you've got to get those hours somewhere, whether that's Instacart, that's driving Uber. I would love for you to be able to make the same amount per hour that you were making, but you got to get this debt paid off.
What else have you done as a side hustle that you could do?
I've never honestly had a side hustle before. Once I became a dispatcher, that kind of just basically it. Okay. I used to work in like food industry, like my very first job before anything else was like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm
Otherwise,
gonna look around for something I can do, whether it's dog sitting, Uber, Instacart. I don't care what it is, but I'm gonna look for something I can do that you can make really good money at for a short period of time, that you can work around your normal 40-hour schedule, and I'm gonna stay where you are.
Okay.
Because your need for extra hours is only $19,000 worth. Then you don't have a need. Then you don't have a need for extra hours. You make $50,000 a year. You can live on $50,000 a year in Minneapolis if you don't have a $19,000 car payment, right?
Right.
Okay. And so what I want you to do is just temporarily, for like 1 year, gear up, work your butt off, and keep the job that you like. Because what you're saying is, I was going to hold my nose and go back to the other place in order to get out of debt. Instead, I would just stay where you are, hold my nose, and work an extra gig of some kind. Find a good hustle and grind, side hustle, and knock yourself out for a year and be debt free. And then quit the side hustle and have a great life.
Yeah. You're going to be free before you know it. I think in your mind, you're trying to change your whole world. You don't need to change your whole world. You just need to get a side job, work it, and pay off $20,000 of debt, and you'll be free.
Before I go back to the old job that was burning you out and you were working freaking 80 hours, I'd sell a stupid car before I did that. But I think you can just pay off the car in a year and keep it by working a side hustle. It's what I would do. And then you've got your best world. You set your best world up. That's a good move. Justin's with us. Justin's in Atlanta. Hi, Justin. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. My wife and I have been listening to you for around 5 years, so thanks for all the wisdom.
Thank you. What's up?
So, our question basically is, what's the best way to use stock grants from our work to pay off our mortgage early?
Mm-hmm.
We bought a house about a year ago. We have about $300,000 left on the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
We have nearly $16,000 worth of stock grants that vest quarterly.
So what would we tell you to do? You've been listening 5 years.
I don't know the specific. I know you don't want me to keep it in that company. So I guess the two options are sell the
cash
stock
it out
grant
as
and
it's
buy
vested and throw it at the mortgage.
Okay, so you wouldn't put it in a mutual fund or an index fund and let it grow a little bit?
Nope.
You're already investing 15%, aren't you?
You've been listening 5 years. What's baby step 6? Pay off the mortgage. It's not invest extra in mutual funds.
No, it would be to put it into a mutual fund until it got to be the amount for the write-off for the mortgage.
Have you ever heard me say that in 5 years?
No, but I've never heard this specific question.
But you've heard people say, why don't I put it into a mutual fund? Because they call every week and say that. Why don't I just put it into a mutual fund instead of paying off my mortgage
Justin,
early?
that's what you want to do. That's what you wanted to do from the moment you called.
No, I genuinely don't want to do either or. No.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's
I'm good
keep
either or. I've heard Dave say, depending on the timeline that you have, a mutual fund.
That's if you're saving up for something. In this case, go ahead and continue to invest your 15% into your mutual funds, into your retirement, and then we chuck anything extra to the mortgage. And in this case, you selling those vested stocks or getting out of those stocks is going to be something that you can chuck toward the mortgage. Don't put it in a mutual fund.
It's a baby step 6 move. That's exactly what it is. That's your baby step 6 flex. There you go, dude. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 1:5. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. B.B. King said, "The beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you." Ooh, that's good stuff. Jade Warshaw, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. Andrew is next. He's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Andrew. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, how's it going?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
I am calling because me and my wife, we are both 20 years old, and we've been doing the Ramsey plan, and we paid off all our debt and everything, and now we are thinking of kind of changing our jobs because now we really wanting to do something just to collect a paycheck. We want to do something we enjoy more and something that's more impactful, and just trying to weigh the options on that because it is going to be a pay cut with that. So.
Very cool. What are you thinking about getting into?
I want to go into youth ministry at my local church, and she wants to. She currently is a preschool teacher, kind of like a private kind of thing, and wants to go into the public school setting just as an assistant.
Okay. What's it going to take for you guys to make those transitions?
I guess just applying and hoping we get it.
So what's your household income now, and what would it be if you did this?
Right now it's about $100K, and it'd be moving to between 60 and 65.
Okay. All right. Well, what I would want to do is a path that takes me somewhere rather than just down. And so neither one of these things sound like what you will be doing when you're 45. The number of 45-year-old youth pastors is fairly small. Okay?
Right.
So you likely would move, a normal path would be to move towards associate pastor, maybe senior pastor later. Mm-hmm. That's a fairly normal path. I've got a friend who's 67. He's a senior pastor of a major mega church in a metropolitan area, started as a youth pastor decades and decades ago. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I want a career path that increases my effectiveness, increases my joy, increases the scale of the people I'm helping. And if these moves take me on that path, good, if they're a step in that direction. But just I'm going to dumb down my life to have more joy when I'm 20, no.
Right.
Okay.
I think both of these things are congruent with what I'm talking about, though. In other words, I think your wife could move into this public setting with the idea of getting her degree, getting her certification, becoming a teacher, maybe even someday doing some tutoring, maybe even opening up her own tutoring operation, and at 50 years old owns 17 of those across 14 states. I don't know. I'm making that up, okay? But it can start with being the assistant teacher, right?
Right.
And it's all teaching. And you can start with being the youth pastor of a small congregation that doesn't pay squat and be serving the Lord. But that doesn't need to be your end game. Agreed?
Agreed, yeah.
So let's lay out a better end game and then move in these directions. Because otherwise you're running from something instead of to something.
Okay.
So jump online with Ken Coleman, and let me do this. I'm going to give you two of the assessments, the career assessments that Ken developed and our research team developed. And I want you to take those, and they're going to give you some indications on what you can do, where you can go. And then I want you to lay out and say, all right, how does this end? There's an old book that's fabulous called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. And one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, effective in ministry, effective in the classroom, effective in business, effective people, is they begin with the end in mind. And the end being, okay, like when you're my age, dude, I'm 63. What are you going to be doing? I'm glad I did this with my life. I was a good steward of my life for the Lord.
All right.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now, however, the only thing we did take the career assessment. We did that this past week.
Oh, wow.
Very good.
You're ahead of me. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So did it solidify what Dave is telling you?
Yes. And I mean, it seems more like that's the direction we should be going, but I think we just need to, like you're saying, just have a more like long game plan.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I mean, when we started this business, the year we started it, I made $120,000 the year before doing real estate, and this is 1994. Okay, and we opened shop in 1994. Moved out of my living room into a little tiny office, and that year I made 60. So pretty much what you're talking about. I went from 100 and some change down to 60. And Sharon's like, "Where's the financial piece?" but we were going somewhere with that. That was not, we're going to be satisfied and that's what God's calling us to do, and we're going to have the joy of helping people, and we're going to make half the money. No, we knew that we could help more people, and over the years we found lots of ways to help people and lots of ways to expand what we do here and the effectiveness of it, and it's been not only very satisfying but very lucrative.
Yeah, it's good. You have to have a long-term vision.
Tiffany is in Memphis. Tiffany, we're short on time. Go straight to your question.
Yes. So we are in Memphis, as you said, and we're looking to make a move to Chattanooga next year, possibly around May. And we're wanting to have a really big down payment. So we would use the profits from our home, but any extra money, should we put that on top of our mortgage payments as like a savings, or put it in like a high yield savings account separately?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if there was like a tax, like you're paying less tax.
There's no tax on your sale of your home. You're going to have no tax on, and up to $500,000 married filing jointly, and that's profit. That has nothing to do with the mortgage.
Okay, so, yeah, and I meant interest rate. I just wasn't sure if we put more towards it. I guess that wouldn't matter because you're paying the interest rate anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to make about the same interest. You're going to pay taxes on the interest on the high yield, but it's not enough money. Right. The big difference here is that you say the money that you have 1 year from now will not be due to this decision. It will be due to how much money you put into it. Because you're not going to make any money on it either way. Both of them are 2 or 3, 4%.
Okay. I
mean, 4% on 100,000 is $4,000. So if you have 100,000 in there, it's because you put 100,000 in there, not because of the $4,000.
Okay, perfect.
See what I'm doing?
Okay. Yep.
If you're doing it for 10 years, the interest rate matters a lot.
Sure.
If you're doing it for 1 year, it doesn't matter much. I mean, it's a glorified shoebox to put money into.
I like it. I like the plan.
So just think it through. I like paying extra on the mortgage because it doesn't accidentally end up in a bass boat.
That's what I would do. Yeah. That's what we did.
That's what you did, exactly.
When we got ready to move.
That was your go plan.
We continued. We were making extra payments on the mortgage before, and we knew we were moving, and we thought, let's just keep doing that because we know it's not going to get spent on anything else.
Yep. That way it gets stuck. It's a forced savings plan.
That's right.
You can't get your money out except by selling or refinancing. So you don't accidentally go buy a new car.
Yep.
Oops. People do this sometimes. I've heard that.
Yeah, exactly.
Randomly happens.
They were forced into it.
They were forced into it, and now they're in repossession. Yeah. Ouch. It's scary out there. It's really, really scary.
It really is.
It's a good question, Tiffany, and it's here's the beautiful thing about what you're asking. You're 1 year away, and you're actually thinking about it. This is what adults do. Well done, Tiffany. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good and are impulsive and YOLO their butts off. So it's more fun to be an adult, by the way. You have more choices.
Facts.
Children don't have choices. They get told what to do by the adults. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jade. Look, if you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.